Jimmy James, you're watching Catch It Live first. We are here again for the big one. Mugello, Moto GP, the main race. Before things get kicking off, as it will do any minute now, quick shout out to our stream sponsor, jalexpetproducts.co.uk. Use promo code Jimmy James and get a 5% discount off all online orders. If you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button. Ping that notifications bell so you can keep up with what we've got coming. Plenty of sport, cricket, horse racing, you name it, we'll be covering it. And I need more subscribers. I need to get to 1,000 and I'm 971 short. So do us a favour, please. Right, now, we've just had the Italian Air Force flying past, which was pretty impressive. Almost blew Pecco Bagnaglia's eardrums out. That'll be clipped on YouTube later by somebody, no doubt. It looked like it was loud and it sounded loud even through the TV. We have yesterday's qualifying was a little bit odd because you had Martin P1, Bagnaia P2, Vinales P3. Pecco got a penalty. Excuse me. Pecco got a penalty, so he's going to be starting further down the grid. I think it was a 3 place he got, so he'll be in P5. Which is going to make it a little bit harder for today. However, Pecco's good enough, the bike's good enough. It's just whether Martin can get away at the front and then manage the gap. That's not going to be easy though, because we've got Maverick Vinales, who's going to be now in P2. If Maverick can get a good start, he could cause a bit of an upset. However, we know what Maverick's like, and he's been a lot better this year. But he still has a potential to fluff a start, doesn't he, and get a little bit beaten up. And also, you've got Pedro Acosta, who's on form, so he's going to be starting from P5 now, due to Bagnaia getting a 3-place grid penalty. Not that everybody heard the breaking news yesterday that he's now signed a long-term contract with KTM at the expense of Jack Miller. Also, don't forget to use the chat facility. Let us know who you're thinking for the race. Personally, on this one, I'm going to go with, I think Marc Marquez could have this. Over the full race distance, I think it's going to be between Jorge Martin, who crashed out yesterday, Pecco Bagnaia, and Marc Marquez. Could Maverick Vinales get in and about? He could. Will he? I'm going to say it's doubtful, but you never know. So there's one thing for certain. We'll see very shortly because the guys are going to be going on their warm-up lap. Marquez. Wish I could spell better. Marquez for the win. There you are. I'm locked and loaded. So, yeah, yesterday's qualifying was a little bit odd. In the race from yesterday, it was obviously Pecco in first, Marquez second, Acosta third, great run. Morbidelli fourth, wow. Maverick Vinales fifth, Binder sixth, Digi seventh, Alex Marquez eighth, Aleix ninth, Raul Fernandez in 10th. Then you've got Bezecchi 11th, Miller 12th, Rins 13th, Paul 14th, Zarco 15th, Nakagami 16th, Fernandez 17th, Salvadorian Marini at the back. However, in warm-up this morning, Pedro Acosta was the quickest. Crowd's looking fantastic. The circuit's looking fantastic. All of these smoke drifting across the circuit there just looks superb. Current standings, Martin, championship standings, Martin 27 points in front of Bagnaia. So I'm hoping that this is going to update from this morning's warm-up times, and it'll give us the race details. It's normally a little bit delayed, but obviously that's why you've got Jimmy James telling you up to date what's happening. Oh God, I'm looking forward to this. Join us in the chat. That's what it's there for. The nerves must be jangling now. Mine are, and I'm not even there. Everything's set up now. Then, like I said, hopefully this screen over here is going to update. It's just gone a little bit dull. Off looking at the sky, it's blue sky with white cloud, but the sun's disappeared behind a cloud. Hopefully, there's not going to be any rain or any moisture, which was predicted earlier that it could be a bit of an issue. The flagmen are on the track. They're now moving. Ducati are racing in blue. The red lights are on. We're off. We are go, go, go. Great start from Martin. Maverick Vinales has got a good start. Bastianini's trying to get under Martin. Maverick Vinales runs wide. It's a bun fight at the front. It's Moto 3 disguised as Moto GP. Wow. Bagnaia. P1. What a start. The smoke's coming across the circuit there. What a good start. We've got Bagnaia P1, Jorge Martin P2. Yeah, the Factory Ducati here in blue is paying homage to the Italian football team, who are obviously going to be getting ready for to go and defend their title at the Euros in a couple of weeks. So we've got, let's do a top 10 quickly. We've got Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini, Marc Marquez, Pedro Acosta. That's your top 5. Then you've got Maverick Vinales 6, Frankie Morbidelli 7th, Aleix 8th, Alex Marquez 9th, Digit in 10th. Jack Miller's down in 20th. Right. Regardless, the screen has updated over there, so keep an eye on that. But Pecco's got to the front quickly. He had a great start, and he's trying to put a gap into him already. He's already got a point forward over Jorge Martin in second. Wow, that's the end of lap 1. Bagnaia from Martin from Bastianini. Marc Marquez in 4th. Pedro Acosta in 5th. Oh, Martin's deep there. Manages to hold P2, but he's lost a good 2 tenths there to Bagnaia at the front. Jack Miller's now up to... Jack Miller's up to 13th. I was confusing him there with Joan Mir, so apologies to Jack Miller. I'm glad I kept my thoughts of what I was thinking to myself, because it would have been completely wrong and I would have looked a right plum, and rightly so. So, yeah, Miller's in 13th. Where's Binder, his teammate? Binder's only in 11th. But Pecco at the front is putting the hammer down. Martin's trying to go with him. He's pulled that gap back after he lost a couple of tenths in T1 running wide. Bastianini, P3. Marc Marquez, P4. Pedro Acosta P5. Slightly different line there from Acosta on Marquez. These onboard shots we get now are just fantastic. Don't forget to let us know in the chat what's going on. Let's get the control panel up there. Where's it gone? Right, there we are. There we are. Right, we've got everything going. Marquez was trying to get through there on Bastianini. It ran a little bit wide, and Pedro Acosta was there doing a Marquez. But nothing changed. He swapped back again. So it is now. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, is Jorge Martin. We've got Bagnaia P1, Martin P2, Bastianini P3, Marc Marquez P4. Pedro Acosta is putting Marquez under some pressure here. That KTM turns completely different from the Ducati. It holds a much tighter entry into the corner, into the apex. Much less of a V, if that makes sense. So Bagnaia, that gap's been pegged at 0.5 of a second. Martin looks happy there. Maybe he's just looking after that front tyre temperature a little bit. Pedro Acosta's wide there into the final turn. He's lost a good 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second there on Marquez. He was wide. So we're coming over the start-finish line now. There'll be 20 laps to go. We've got Pecco Bagnaia, fastest lap of the race, from Jorge Martin and Enea Bastianini. Marquez in 4th, Acosta 5th, Frankie Morbidelli 6th, Maverick Viñales 7th, Alex Marquez 8th, Aleix in 9th and Digit in 10th. Through the speed trap, Brad Binder's the fastest, 226 miles per hour. How fast do you like it? Pecco's put a new race record in, 1:45.9. He's got the hammer down. I'm just wondering if he's trying to build a gap. I'm wondering if he's trying to build a gap and then try and manage his the gap through his pit board. But yeah, he's not got that that big a gap yet to be able to do that. Jorge Martin's not letting him get away. You've got almost equidistance gap between Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini, Marquez and Pedro Acosta. Frankie Morbidelli in 6th is putting in a good showing here. Marquez is trying to put... Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Marquez has got an issue. There was smoke billowing out the back of his bike then, whether it's something catching or whether that was from the engine. But that didn't look good. That did not look good then for Marquez's bike. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes pop. If that's from the engine, there's no way that that's going to last a full race. If it was from something rubbing, he might get away with it. But there was definitely, it was when they were coming onto the pit straight. "19 laps to go. Pecco still at the front, half a second lead over Martin in 2nd. Half a second lead then from Bastianini. We're just going to see a replay now of Marquez, what went on here. Where did that smoke come from? I think it might have been from You know, the lowering device when you get onto the straight, maybe it caught something. Hopefully it's not engine. He's not losing any pace or anything like that, so hopefully it was just... the thing is, what's going to happen the next time he does it? Is it a problem with the bike, with the lowering device? We'll find out shortly. Just keeping an eye on Marc Marquez here as they're coming around this final corner again. He's going to sit the bike down. Same again, a little bit. Something again caught when the lowering device was put into operation. Hopefully it's not touching his rear tyre, because it's not going to go last a full race if that's happening. New best race lap again from Bagnaia, 1:45.77. Jorge Martin still close enough in second place, and Bastianini in third, Marquez fourth, Acosta fifth, Morbidelli sixth, Vinales seventh, just a second off the lead. Not a second off the lead, that's a lie. He's about 2 and a bit seconds off the lead. Augusto Fernandez has gone into the pits and he's having a right go at the pit crew there, gesticulating, really unhappy. I don't know what that was all about. I think of looking at this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to Frankie Morbidelli, then a little bit of a gap to Maverick Vinales. Not out of it yet, but I think from Maverick Vinales downwards, your winner's not coming from there. So I will say it's a top 7 I would predict your winner comes from. That will be Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini, Marquez, Acosta, Morbidelli, Maverick Vinales. 17 laps to go. I do worry that if Marc Marquez's lowering device is going to keep touching the tyre, you wouldn't want to be wearing a hole in it, would you, and it going pop. Yellow flag sector 1, who's dropping? Joan Mir. Has he just run on, or is it a crash? My guess is it'll be turn 1. Oh, it's a crash. There he has crashed. Luckily, he's up and walking away. I mean, he's just not finishing the race, is he, Joan Mir, on that Honda? I doubt it's his fault, because let's be honest, he's not known as a crasher. Bagnaia is just pulling a little bit more of a gap at the front now. I'd say that's gone up to points... Well, they just put it on now, 0.7 of a second to Jorge Martin. Then Bastianini's putting Martin under pressure. ...17 laps to go. The Ducati does look red, does look good in the blue, but I've got to say I do prefer the red. Martin was a little bit wide there. Coming onto the pit straight again. Bastianini is in a perfect place to get a slipstream. I've got a feeling he could be coming under pressure here at T1. No, Bastianini breaks nice and early. Martin's just a yard wider on the apex. Status quo. Bagnaia at the front now is eking this gap up towards a second now, 0.85. 16 laps to go though. Obviously Pecco knows what he's doing in respect of his tyre. Just looking at the clouds in the back, it looks like there's a bit of cloud moving over. Maybe this is where there could be a shower. There's a few dirty clouds as well, if that makes sense. You know, you get the grey cloud. Looks like it could drop a little bit of rain, but it wouldn't be anything too long lasting anyway. Maybe a little shower. Martin's bringing that gap down ever so slightly by a tenth on this lap. Right, we're going to come on to another little puff of smoke there for Marquez. We've crossed the line now. There's 15 laps to go. That gap at the front from Bagnaia to Martin, steady, it's 3/4 of a second. But Marquez and Bastianini are closing up here on Martin. Just watching the restart, the race start. Bagnaia got a good start. It didn't look anything exceptional. He came to the outside, and then he just braked hard. It came. Oh, he had a lovely Maverick Vinales ran wide, and it opened up beautifully for Bagnaia. It was like the parting of the Red Sea. Well, it would have been, apart from Ducati are racing in blue today, but you get what I mean. You got a beautiful gap. If Maverick hadn't have run wide, it would have been very different at the start, because there would have been no space there for Bagnaia to drive out of turn 1 in. 15 laps to go. Bagnaia is still at the front. Gap's come down slightly. It's at 0.7 of a second now. Jorge Martin in second. Then there's a 0.4 gap to Bastianini in third. Marc Marquez is right on the pipe of Bastianini, so that's visual as opposed to needing the timing screen. Going down the pit straight again. 14 laps to go. He's not getting any benefit from the slipstream on the straight, Marquez isn't. Obviously both on Ducatis, himself and Enea Bastianini. Bastianini's on the factory, but you can bet Marquez has got the same equipment, if not very, 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 very similar. Live Championships up there, we'll not bother with that until the end of this race. But currently Bagnaia is 22 points behind Jorge Martin. That gap's coming down at the front by just a tenth a lap. It's currently at 0.64. Bagnaia in the lead. Martin in second. Then you've got a gap, almost identical gap, to Bastianini in third and Marquez in fourth. Pedro Costa's in fifth. Morbidelli's still in sixth. Good showing there. It's just looking a little bit darker over in Mugello. So maybe the predictions of a little shower could have been right. Yellow flag sector 3. Who's dropping down? Taka Nakagami's crashed at turn 12. Let's hope he's alright. Right. 13 laps to go. Another 10th gone. Bagnaia has a 0.501 of a second lead over Martin. So it's coming down a tenth at a time. Marquez is trying to line up Bastianini. Not making any moves just yet, but you can just tell with his body language and the closeness that he's racing behind Bastianini here. Unless he was going to make a move, you wouldn't need to be so close. Just coming out of Savelli. On board with Marquez. Takes Arrabbiata 1. Leans over to the right. Arrabbiata 2 over the blind crest. They're all on the limit there. They're all on the limit. Looks like Marc Marquez can hold a slightly tighter line, but it's literally inches than Bastianini. The gap at the front from Bagnaia to Martin's back up to 0.7. I'm wondering if he's still going to get a puff of smoke coming onto the straight. Didn't see it there because we had a rearward shot from Bastianini looking at Marquez. 12 laps to go. Don't forget to give us a share, please. Give us a thumbs up and click that notifications bell. Cracking crowd here at Mugello. Is Bagnaia going flat out at the front and Martin's just trying to hang on to him, or is Martin quite happy where he is, keep his front tyre temperature down? 12 laps to go, there's no rush, is there? Bastianini looked a little bit wide there. It's only small margins, but Marquez is right on his tail now. Probably 3 bike lengths. Maybe a little bit more now. But he's definitely getting ready to line something up, is Marc Marquez. You can just tell with him. You can tell with his body language. That is down at the front to half a second again. Pedro Acosta, he's just looking nice and smooth in 5th. Maybe he's looking after his front tyre as well. Morbidelli's got Vinales behind him. Maverick Vinales has gone for a medium rear. That could play dividends towards the end. All the riders in front of him have gone for a medium front, soft rear on the tyre allocation. .11 laps to go. Bagnaia, half a second in front of Martin, who's half a second in front of Bastianini, who's 0.4 of a second in front of Marquez. I'm wondering, I've just got that feeling, and that horrible feeling, if you're a Pecco Bagnaia fan, I've got a feeling he's going to dump the front again. I've just got a feeling he's going to run wide, just slightly wide somewhere, and he's going to hang on to the brake and lose the front. It's just a gut feeling. Just a couple of things I've seen from him. We'll find out. 11 laps to go. Let's do a full rundown. We've got Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini, that's your front 3. Then you've got Marquez, Acosta, Morbidelli, Vinales, Alex Marquez, Digi, Binder. That rounds out your top 10. Then you've got Aleix from Fernandez, Oliveira, Rins, Bezzecchi. That's your top 15. Then you've got Quartararo, Miller, Paul, Zarco, Marini, and Salvadori. I wonder what's gone on with Aleix this weekend. I think Martin was wide there. He was wide there, and he's lost a good 2 or 3 tenths, and he's coming into the clutches now of Enea Bastianini. 10 laps to go. It wasn't anything really visual, but you just saw him going for a late apex and kind of lost the drive off the corner. He's trying hard now to get that gap back to half a second. It looks more to me like it's going towards a full second though. Just on board at the minute of Maverick Vinales right behind Frankie Morbidelli. Just goes to show though, doesn't it? You put Morbidelli on a Ducati and suddenly everyone who was saying, me included, that he's lost it now and, you know, time to move on and what have you. Maybe injuries have got the better of him, but no, if you put him onto a Ducati and the performances start coming back, don't they? Martin's closed that gap up again at the front. He had to work hard on that lap, 9 laps to go. He's got it back down to 0.6. Martin to Bastianini, 0.6. Bastianini to Marquez, 1/4 of a second. I'll be disappointed if it just stays like this because it's building up nicely now. I'm not saying we don't want anyone crashing out, but we want this front group to start closing up. I think Bagnaia at the front, obviously he's going to be happy with the win. Martin, I don't think will be devastated with a second. But I think there's no way Marc Marquez is just going to sit behind Bastianini for the rest of this race with 9 laps to go without trying something. For one, he'll want the points. Secondly, he'll want to get on that podium. He wants to have his face all over every podium because, obviously, he wants the best bike he can get from Ducati. Could it be a case of Marc Marquez taking the ride from Bastianini? Regardless of what Ducati say. Eight laps to go. Status quo at the front. Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini. 0.6 of a second gap, 0.6 of a second gap. 0.3 of a second back from Bastianini is Marc Marquez in 4th. Pedro Acosta, he's kind of in no man's land, to be honest. He's dropped off now from this front group. And he's just going to have a lonely race to the end, I think. But he'll be the highest positioned KTM, which is a shot in the arm for him. Not that he needs it, but he's got it. It's definitely a front group of 4. That's where your winner's coming from. Bagnaia, the gap at the front's just come down, but it's hundredths of a second, not tenths. We've got 8 laps to go. Still looking a little bit darker. Hopefully we don't get rain spoiling this now, or maybe it'll spice it up even more. Bastianini was sliding coming out of that corner there. And Mark looked like he was on rails, did Mr. Marquez, coming into the final corner now. So now, can Marquez get a slipstream from Bastianini? He's in the perfect position. No, he cannot. Bastianini is pulling away. Made no difference a slipstream there at all. Gap at the front's coming down now. It's 0.4. We're getting a race on with 7 to go. That's Martin picking up the pace because he's almost put 0.3 of a second into Bastianini in third there. So maybe Martin's thinking it's time to make a move on Bagnaia. I mean, the ideal scenario for Martin would be if he can put Bagnaia under pressure. Bagnaia loses the front, gets no points, and Martin picks up a win. That'd be utopia for Martin. Helicopter there in shot, giving us some great overhead footage. I'm just thinking that Marc Marquez has got, with his, although he's on a Ducati, he's even with a slipstream down the long straight at Mugello, he's not getting any benefit. So maybe he's just a touch down on power. Seven laps to go. The gap's just creeping up at the front again to 0.7 of a second. Although I've got to say, visually it looks closer than that. We're coming onto the pit straight again. We've got an onboard with Marc Marquez behind Enea Bastianini. Once again, Bastianini's pulling away slightly. No benefit from the draft for Marc Marquez. He's going to have to do it on the brakes, but Bastianini is late on the brakes. Marc's coming in, coming late from Marquez, pushes Bastianini out wide. He had to do it because he wasn't getting anything on the drive out of the final corner to slipstream down the straight. It was going to have to be done on the brakes. He's made the move. It was somewhat of a block pass. Didn't make contact with Bastianini. But regardless of that, Marc Marquez is now in third. Six laps to go. Bagnaia P1, 0.7 ahead again of Martin, so that gap's correct back up. Then you've got Marc Marquez 1.1 seconds behind Jorge Martin, and Bastianini is looking like he's going to try and repay the favour to Marc at the earliest opportunity, so this is going to get spicy. Marc's late on the brakes though. He's got it moving about there on the front tyre. He knows, he must be able to hear Bastianini behind him. Pedro Acosta in fifth. He's having a lonely race. So with 6 laps to go, what can Martin do about the lead at the front to Bagnaia? Still 0.6 of a second. I think Marc is going to have his work cut out. Marc Marquez, he's going to have his work cut out hanging on to third from Bastianini, let alone trying to make up the 1.2 second gap he's got to Jorge Martin, who's in second. So we're coming onto the pit straight here. Let's see if the factory Ducati can get a slipstream and do anything. Doesn't look like it. He got a good drive out of the final corner, did Marc Marquez. Nobody runs wide in T1. Just watching the overtake there that Marquez did on Bastianini. He did just try and get level on the brakes. Knew he was going to run slightly wide, but obviously he took Bastianini with him and he had the inside line. Good move. You got to do what you got to do. 5 laps to go. Bagnaia P1. That gap's down to half a second. to Martin in P2. There's then a gap of a second to Marc Marquez in third, and Bastianini is right with him. That's going to rumble on right until the end, I think. Don't forget to give us a share and a like if you're enjoying the stream. Click that notifications bell. Shout out to our stream sponsor, jalexpetproducts.co.uk. Use promo code Jimmy James and get a 5% discount on all online orders. Thanks for joining us as well. You're more than welcome. The chat's over there. Come and say hello, ask any questions, make a point. It's there for us all to use. 4 laps to go. Bagnaia at the front's not making any mistakes. And he can't afford to, because if he does, Martin, 3/4 of a second behind, will be on him. Just showing some great slow-mos there. They are good, but let's get back to the racing. Here we are. I wonder if Bastianini is going to have a go back at Marquez, even if it's got to be a block pass. Surely he will. Surely he'll know that Marc's a potential threat to his ride. Bagnaia's just been faultless at the front here. Martin's been pretty faultless at the front as well. Marquez can't really get his claws into Martin either. That gap's 1.1 seconds. Bastianini is close behind here though to Marquez. Hopefully that issue that was causing Marc Marquez's rear tyre or something to smoke has gone now. Drops a lowering device. Yeah, I didn't see anything there, so they're on the pit straight. Bastianini's riding the slipstream of Marc Marquez. He's coming. He can't quite get there before they hit the anchors. Marc's late on the brakes. Is he going to run wide? He does run wide slightly, but Bastianini kind of follows him out there. So it's status quo. The gap at the front between Bagnaia and Martin is 0.6 of a second. The gap from Marquez to Martin has come down slightly. That's just under a second now. So Marquez is being pushed here by Bastianini, and in turn they're catching up Martin. The gap at the front, 3 laps to go, the gap at the front's come down to under half a second. Now, is this Bagnaia slowing down slightly, or is it Martin speeding up because he knows Marquez and Bastianini are coming? We'll find out, won't we? The gap at the front now is 0.3 of a second. Bagnaia will hear Martin. Three laps to go. As Martin just saved his tyre, he's not been under pressure from the back. We could be in for a blinding finish here, and it's going to be one of them where the cameraman doesn't know which to focus on, whether it's going to be Bagnaia and Martin or Marquez and Bastianini. Martin's getting ready to slipstream here down the straight and see what he can do. I'm sure that's how close he is. 2 laps to go. 0.2 of a second is the gap now from Bagnaia to Martin in second. Run slightly wide Bagnaia. Takes a late apex. Martin's almost 0.4 of a second quicker on that lap than Bagnaia. Although the gap there's gone up to almost half a second again. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. And now it's up to half a second again. Well, them's the live timings. Maybe Martin just made a slight error somewhere because behind him, Marc Marquez is now only 3/4 of a second behind Jorge Martin. Bastianini is going to attack. He's going to attack here, I think. He has. Marc puts his knee out. Bastianini rides through Marquez's knee, takes third position back from Marquez, and he's put 4 lengths into him already there. So, thing is, has he gone slightly too soon? Because we know what Marc Marquez is like. Everybody seems to be struggling now to find the apex. Martin was a bit wide there, and the gap at the front's gone up to 3/4 of a second again. Yeah, Martin's put the hammer down now. We're coming on to the pit straight. He's got that gap back up to 3/4 of a second. 0.8 of a second. Last lap. Pecco Bagnaia in P1 with a 0.8 of a second lead to Jorge Martin, who's got a 0.6 of a second lead to Enea Bastianini in third. Marc Marquez's ride on Bastianini's pipe. This could be a battle for second. I think the win is done now for Bagnaia. I think Martin might be having a little bit of tyre trouble here. I've got a feeling Martin might come under real pressure any minute now from Bastianini in third. I think he took a little bit out of his tyre when he brought that gap down to 0.2 of a second on Bagnaia. Bagnaia's responded. Marc Marquez, he's going to finish in fourth now. I think he's resigned himself to that. The question is Bastianini and Martin for second on the podium. Yeah, I've got a feeling Martin's front tyre is done. Bastianini is going to do him here. I'll be shocked if Martin can hold on here. Marc Marquez he's just bringing it home now. I mean, Bastianini going round that bend there could go around on rails compared to Jorge Martin. So this is going to be a move. This is going to be a move by Bastianini trying to get underneath Jorge Martin, and he's done it. Coming onto the pit straight, he's done him around the final bend. Martin will try and slipstream Bastianini to the line, but he won't get there. We've got a winner of Bagnaia from Bastianini from Jorge Martin, Marc Marquez in fourth. Timed it perfectly there, did Bastianini. Pedro Acosta in the lonely fifth. Frankie Morbidelli sixth. Digi seventh. Maverick Vinales eighth. Alex Marquez 9th, Brad Binder in 10th. Alation 11th, Fernandez 12th, Bezecchi 13th, Oliveira 14th, Rins 15th. That's your top points finishers. Miller was just outside 16th with Paulin 17th, Quartararo 18th, Zarco 19th. And we know who's bringing up the rear. Salvadori. The Ducati fans are going wild. The Ducati management are going wild. The factory Ducati garage is going wild. And yeah, he just couldn't hang on at the end. It was almost like that push from Martin to get right behind. Pecco and put him under pressure. Just took that little bit out of his tyre, and it was the last half of the last lap. He was struggling, and Bastianini didn't panic when Marc Marquez took him. He managed to take Marc, then get his claws into Martin on the final lap and do him on the final corner. He just rode underneath him and drove to the line. Jorge Martin couldn't slipstream Bastianini, so that'll be third for Martin. I don't think he'll be too disappointed. You know, let's be honest, this is Ducati's home. So to get a third place there on a customer bike is not a bad result at all, is it? It's 16 points as opposed to 20. But he will take that, especially after yesterday's trip to the kitty litter in the sprint race. Luckily for him, it's not full points, but he'll still be in the lead of the championship as well, although that'll be by a reduced amount now that Pecco's won yesterday and today. But yeah, he just ran slightly wide on the final corner and just left a little, well, just enough of a gap for Bastianini to get underneath him. And that's it. Drive to the line. Right. If you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up and click the notifications bell. Shout out to our stream sponsor, jalexpetproducts.co.uk. Use the promo code Jimmy James and get a 5% discount off all online orders. Thanks for joining us today for all three MotoGP races, Moto 3, Moto 2, and obviously this one we've just watched. If you've missed them, go back and watch them. They're all pretty good. No spoilers, so don't worry about that. And I will just say thank you for joining us. I am Jimmy James. You're welcome. Use the chat. That's what it's there for. We'll be back soon. Have a great day, everybody.